This is Liz Colburn, host of The Morning Uplift. Thank you for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media.
This is Madeline, host of Crowned and Dangerous here on Public House Media. Thanks for listening to the following broadcast on Public House Media. Once you are done with this episode, I hope you'll come back to check out my show, Crowned and Dangerous, where Jessica and I talk about our time in the pageant world. A new show comes out bi-weekly on Thursdays. Don't forget to subscribe on iTunes so you never miss an episode of Crowned and Dangerous. Thanks again for checking out the following broadcast on Public House Media.
Hello everyone, it is No Filter Friday on Public House Media, and I'm sitting here with my giant bottle of tea because we got all the stuff to talk about, and because Bryan Singer's got to give it away, so are we. I have a giveaway that I've decided to extend. I was going to give it away tonight, but I feel like I didn't promote my giveaway enough to let enough people get in on it. So if you've already entered yourself in the giveaway for the Dodgers tickets, that's cool. That's awesome. You're still entered. But we're going to actually give the tickets away next week after I've promoted it a little bit more, because I want people to get in on the jams, you know? Like, it's no fun unless the homies can't, you know, if the homies can't have any. So we're gonna wait a week. We're gonna talk more about the Dodgers tickets that I have too, because it's not just like a pair of tickets, blah blah blah, you know, go over there, see the game, and that's that. It's a little bit more involved than that, which I think is fun. It's funsies. And you know, we're gonna get it all together. So I'm gonna take a second and share. Sound is good, tea is better, isn't it, David Bobke? Isn't it? I was telling somebody about you the other day. I was in a meeting and I was like, David Bobke is my favorite minion. Oh my gosh, my dogs are underneath me. They're having a little freak out because we're having a full-on bee infestation up in here. This entire week, we have been battling a monstrous beehive that took up residence in the ceiling of our balcony. Ticket giveaway has been extended. Hang on, we'll get to this story in a second. Okay, share. If you haven't shared the show, share it now. We're all gonna take our time to share. It's like show and tell in here. Okay, so what had happened was, all right, we're focused. We're live. Okay, so, all right, back it up. Bee story. So this gigantic beehive has taken up residence in the ceiling of our balcony, and our balcony is like a wraparound balcony. So they're over here, they're over there, they're probably in between. The first day the bee rescuers came, they said that they stuffed 18,000 bees into a bee box, and we thought that was the majority of it. We were wrong. We were absolutely wrong. They came back after a couple days of letting the bees settle down a little bit, and they knocked another gigantic hole in the ceiling of the balcony, and they found a hive that was way, way, way bigger. So now I have stacks of honeycombs that I'm going to turn into wax candles. But it's crazy because they're the bees that are left are like stragglers, and they're getting in the house because they don't have all their homies are gone and they don't know what to do. So I just found some in the bedroom, which is a problem. I don't mind them personally that much. They don't bother me, but they're a major issue when you have dogs, especially when you have a smush face like Jelly Donut, because she's already super allergic to like everything, and if she steps on a bee or gets stung by a bee because she's like half naked, she's only got fur on the top of her, it's going to be a major issue. So I'm trying to like catch bees that get in the house and like throw them out in a way, and it's a problem. It is a full on problem. Okay, so we're gonna get to this Dodger ticket situation. So I have here in my hand 2 tickets to see the Dodgers. Hang on, let me see if I can pull this out of here. Okay, so this is like a SoCal special. These 2 tickets to see the Dodgers play the San Diego Padres in LA on July 6th. I have in my hand. We're going to give these away. And because it is the 76th episode, this is how well this worked out. The Me Too Heavens have parted and helped us. It's not just the 2 tickets. So thanks to 76 gas station, they are having a pregame event that's like a private event. If you're a ticket holder of these, if you get these kinds of tickets, if you win these tickets from the show, they're having a pregame event from 5 to 7 before that game on July 6th. And there's going to be food and entertainment and all that stuff. So you not only do you get the 2 Dodgers tickets, but you also get to pregame with free food and entertainment and swag and all that fun stuff if you win these. So how do you win these lovely Dodgers tickets in addition to the pregame party? You have to follow Public House Media. You have to follow me, and then leave a comment so I know that you did it. So like leave like a blue heart or a yay Dodgers or like whatever you want to put. And you can either do it if you have an Instagram, follow both those Instagram accounts. If you have a Twitter, follow both of those Twitter accounts. And if you only have Facebook, only follow Public House Media, and then like my fan page that the show goes through, and leave a comment, and then you could win. So next week on our 77th episode, we will give away those tickets. But for now, on the 76th episode, everybody is going to keep entering, because I don't feel like I promoted it enough this week. I don't feel like I told enough people to get in on the game. And because it's a local thing, because you're either going to have to be in town from San Diego or somewhere seeing the Padres, or you're going to have to be in LA and you're a Dodger fan. It's not a giveaway that I can just mail out liquid lipsticks to whoever in the world. So you're going to need to be able to be here to take advantage of this giveaway. So I'm going to extend it this week and tell more people. So if you're not going to enter because you're not going to be in SoCal for around 4th of July, then share the giveaway, share the show, so other people that are here can get those tickets and not only get their hot dogs and their swag, but they also get to see the Dodgers play the Padres, which is like SoCal rah rah rah, right? So that's how that's gonna go. Now that we're done with that business, Bryan Singer has decided to settle with his rape accuser for well over $100,000 this week. And as they all say, that, they're settling outside of court because, they don't want to pay the lawyer fees, and that doesn't mean that they're guilty, and blah, 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 blah. So anyway, this is taken from slate.com, but we talked about this situation with Bryan Singer a few episodes ago, because around the time that it was Golden Globes, I think so, yeah, when Rami Malek won for playing Freddie Mercury, there was like all this buzz around award show season of like how that film was going to do, because how Bohemian Rhapsody was going to do because of all of this legal drama battle #MeToo going on with Bryan Singer, which is a valid argument. And my still question, like whether he settles with this guy or doesn't, or other people pop up, or he does end up on getting another directing job, even though he went MIA during the filming of Bohemian Rhapsody. I still want to know if Bryan Singer is insurable or not, like production wise, because anytime you work on a movie, you have to like personally be in, like the production company or the studio has to insure you, like more of like a surety bond kind of an insure you, and that if you ever because there's like a dollar amount on, if you are, say, Zac Efron and you're dope sick and you can't show up to a B unit day because you're dope sick, you have to have some insurance for that, because you're going to have to redo that day when that person is not on a bender. I've posed this question on LinkedIn. I've put it out to all of my like producer groups and filmmaker groups that I'm a part of, and nobody has an answer for this. Short of calling up insurance companies like Neil Benton or something, like nobody has answered me on if Bryan Singer is insurable or not. So that the verdict still, the jury's still out on that. However, we're going to go over this. I'm taking this from Slate because I'm trying to mix up the different news sources that we get these things from, because as much as I love the trades, I feel like we need to be, #news inclusive. So Bryan Singer has agreed to pay $150,000 to settle a lawsuit alleging that he raped Cesar Sanchez Guzman in 2003. Again, we did this episode a while back on this big LA Times piece that came out against him. But the thing is that there's been multiple people that have accused Bryan Singer over the years, and he's managed to squash all of them. This one's not squashing. He's not squashing this one. Who at the time was 17 years old during the alleged assault, wrote in his complaint that he was attending a party on Lester Waters' yacht when Singer lured him into a private room, forced him to performed oral sex on him, and raped him. Despite his protests, Singer has consistently and flatly denied, oh, look, they found a new word, flatly, how cute, denied Sanchez Guzman's claim, saying he didn't know him at all. The last time we talked about the show, we did talk about this kid, but like somebody that we spent a lot of time on was an extra for a movie that he spent a lot of time procuring, I guess, and they said that they never found any payroll records for this kid, and it was a whole thing. So if you miss, in the event that you miss that giant, huge Bryan Singer episode, go back and listen to that. Or watch it if you're a No Filter Friday live watcher, because it is a whole, it's not unpacking a backpack, it's unpacking a duffel bag. Like, it's serious. This settlement was the product of negotiations between Singer's attorney and Sanchez Guzman's bankruptcy trustee, Nancy James, not Sanchez Guzman himself. Singer's accuser filed for bankruptcy in 2014, when he sued Singer 3 years later. His bankruptcy trustee reopened his case on the grounds that his creditors had an interest in the proceeds. Whoo, this is sticky, buddy. If there were any, in a filing on Wednesday, James recommended the court approve a settlement of $150,000, noting that Sanchez Guzman, you will not squeak right now. There is no squeaking. My dogs are so bad. I cannot even explain to you with words. Noting that Sanchez Guzman had not produced any evidence that he attended the 2003 party, Singer's attorney said in a statement that agreeing to the settlement was a business decision, not an admission of guilt. That's what they all say. Singer has denied even knowing this individual, let alone allegedly having interacted with him more than 15 years ago. The decision to resolve the matter with the bankruptcy trustee was purely a business one, as litigation costs would well exceed the amount requested by a trustee to pay off the creditors who were owed money when the debtor filed for bankruptcy. Nearly half of the proposed settlement, $61,000, would go immediately to Sanchez Guzman's creditors, not him himself, mostly for the student loan debt he couldn't discharge through bankruptcy. A portion of the remaining money would be used to pay administrative costs related to his bankruptcy, and Sanchez Guzman would receive whatever was left, which is going to be nothing, considering all of his problems. By the time he pays off his student loans and the attorneys take their 30 and 40% fee, he's gonna get, he'll be lucky to get two knuckles to rub together. Singer has been dogged by allegations of sexual misconduct since 1997, since the 90s. One of my favorite sayings since the 90s, and it's actually true in this case. Lawsuit alleging he asked underage extras to appear nude in a shower scene, an apt pupil. We talked about this. He has consistently denied wrongdoing, as per the usual. But again, Bryan Singer is another open secret in Hollywood, just like Harvey Weinstein and just like Kevin Spacey. We all knew these kids don't show up out of nowhere. But in Bryan Singer's case, he was taking kids across state lines for the purposes of sex, which is like a whole other situation and charge. So it doesn't surprise me that they're settling, but it would cost him a cool amount of money to try and litigate this. And I was realizing after going over the stuff, since we spent so much time on R. Kelly, we forgot about Ellen, and we shouldn't have, because not that Ellen's story is particularly spellbinding in any way, because it happens all too often, but we need to talk about it because it's not at all spellbinding and it happens all too often. So for the one hand is washing the other here. So on May 28th, I think, back at the end of May, she was on Larry King's Netflix show that he does. And they were doing it. He was interviewing her, as Larry King and his old suspenders do. And she talked about how her stepdad, like a late husband of her mom, molested her on numerous occasions. And she told her mom, and her mom didn't really care and didn't do anything about it. Like, she was with this guy until he died, basically. But the reason that we need to talk about that is because it happens all the time. And it's not acceptable, nor it's flabbergasting on top of that. And the time that I spent going around the world and interviewing all kinds of victims of violence, sex crimes and gender-based violence, and experts on the topic and all that jazz, I saw some gnarly stuff. I saw people who had been injured because terrorists had shot at them. I saw people that had their faces burned off with acid for turning down marriage proposals. I've seen, or just by their, 47% body burns by their own husband. Still don't know why. I've seen some gnarly stuff. And I will say, what has haunted me the most about all of those stories is people who were molested as kids, or beyond molested, were raped as kids, or you name it, and they went to an adult for help, or any of these cases where they did seek help, they went and told somebody, and that somebody who should have, I don't know, done something for them in any way, shape, or form, didn't. And that is when I found out what conditional love means. I went my whole life up until this point thinking that Conditional love was like, oh, I will love you if you do X, Y, and Z. That's not what it means. What it means is, oh, I will love you, in quotations, until it's inconvenient for me, and then I can't be doing that. I interviewed a girl that still haunts me on a daily basis that was like 3 or 4 years old, and her uncle molested her, and she went and she ran, and she told her grandma, and in her little tiny toddler way of, he did this to me. And she basically spanked her in the butt and told her to hush up and go to her room. And I can't, for the life of me, imagine having this reaction to a child saying, this person did this, and you're just like, oh, hush and shut up. Another, one of my, dearest friends in the world had a similar situation. She wasn't molested by a family member. It was a guy that she went to school with, but she got the same reaction. Oh my God, why are you doing this to us? When she told them what happened. Like, that was the reaction. It's like, really? Seriously? That's your first verbal diarrhea? That's the first thing that comes out of your mouth? Really? And it's horrible. And then I have another friend whose mom had the same situation, basically, that Ellen had, that one of her mother's many husbands had molested her on several occasions, and mom knew and did nothing and stayed with the guy, and everybody just had to live with it. Which I learned a lot about when I went to Jamaica, because Jamaica didn't end up really being a huge arc in the story here, but I learned a lot while I was there, because apparently in Jamaica, 40% of their populations, their first sexual experience is either coerced or straight up rape. And nobody really ever does anything about it because people don't say anything about it. Most of the time it's a family member, and because the unemployment there is so high, is that if somebody's actually a breadwinner and is like bringing home money in any way, shape, or form, that person just does whatever they want because everybody's suckling off this community tit, basically, which is wrong. And that's exactly what happened to Ellen. Her mom's late husband decided that he was going to forcibly grope her and molest her under the guise of, I need to check your breast for lumps, like a psychopath. And she told her mom, and her mom was like, I'm going to keep him around, which is so incredibly disgusting to me. And we should all be disgusted by it. Like, how, like, there is plenty of trash dick in this world that you could latch onto and keep in your life if you feel so inclined, but like, there's more than enough trash dick to choose from that's not going to molest your kids. I think so. I could be wrong. Like, but I feel like if you're that attached to trash dick that you just need to keep it in your life, just trade it for one that doesn't molest your kids. I don't think we're reaching for the stars here. But as an adult, if a child comes to you and says, this person did this to me, you ask them which hand that they did it with, and then you go full on Sons of Anarchy and find a hammer or a screwdriver. I mean, just whatever you got laying around. A mallet, a meat tenderizer, whatever you got, and just go crush those digits. Easy peasy. What are they going to do about it? Nothing. And that's, we're not in the business of, I don't know, prosecuting crimes. Like, you just take care of it yourself. But why on earth anybody would put up with this nonsense is crazy to me. And Ellen said that she just kept taking care of her mom like her whole life, and didn't really, up until recently, like, didn't really feel like she had the presence in her family life, I guess, to be able to be like, hey, this guy's got to go. Even though he tried to like break down her door, I guess, and she ended up jumping out the window to like run away from him trying to get to her. Like, it's just, that's disgusting. It's so unbelievably disgusting. And like, for as much as people like clutch their pearls about Me Too or are outraged or feigning outrage, which is apparently, you know, America's favorite national pastime. Screw baseball at this point. That's the thing that we should really be outraged about. It's like, adults are one thing and that needs to be dealt with accordingly, but they can, that's at least a level playing field. That's adult to an adult. But when a minor is involved, when someone's child is involved, and you can't manage to pry yourself away from this garbage penis long enough to like protect your own child, you have a problem. Like this, it's just not acceptable. It's just not. What law enforcement in the judicial system allows people to get away with in regards to their own kids is absolutely unacceptable. If somebody else did that, like, look at this case of Bryan Singer. He's going to have to pay $150,000 in an out-of-court settlement just to like avoid the litigation and everybody being up in his business, basically, even though we all knew what he was doing anyway. Just for that. But had he done that to his own child, would he get as much backlash? Probably not. Would law enforcement or the judicial system help that kid? Probably not. If he wasn't a famous guy with tons of money to collect on, would lawyers even take this up? Probably not. Like, it's unfortunately, this is the nature of the beast. But I think if we're going to talk about Me Too on a daily basis or a weekly basis or the rate that we're going, like, we also have to talk about like the non-famous aspect of it and why it's taken Ellen her whole life to get like any sort of conversation going about what happened to her, about how she's dealt with it or realized it later in life. Like, look at all the things that she's had to do to get to this point, to feel like a big enough person, a big enough force to be reckoned with, to be able to say what happened to her to Larry King of all people, in such a public way. And the guy's already dead. That guy that her mom was married to is dead. He's long gone. He'll never see any consequences from it. In an earthly fashion, anyway. But, again, if we're going to go on and on and on about #MeToo and what's going on with adults, and particularly famous adults, we've got to have just as much interest and if not more outrage in what's happened to kids that are supposed to be protected. Like, that's what we're supposed to do as a collective group of human beings, is that just get the kids to the age of majority before they have to deal with all these. They have their whole life to deal with adult problems. At that age, you're at least entitled to some adult guidance and protection. They just are. It's unacceptable. Absolutely unacceptable. So, considering this happened with Bryan Singer publicly, that he's settling for this amount of money, it might open the door for those other dozens of people that have accused him or said something about him in a hot tub and like a flight to Hawaii, and, you know, all of these little rumblings that have happened about Bryan Singer since the 90s, since 1997. We're talking about a long, like, I don't even know if Harvey Weinstein's been going that long. I feel like Harvey Weinstein's like an early aughts type of a dude. I don't even know that he was really getting it back in 97. I'm going to have to go back and look. But the moral of the story is, oh my goodness, my lip gloss. The moral of the story is, keep an eye, and I've said this before, keep an eye on the kids. And not just your own, other people's too, because you know parents are slacking these days. make sure nobody is doing anything. And no one is above suspicion. Literally, there are pedophiles lurking under every leaf, every rock, every corner, every tree. They're everywhere. Especially in that, I mean, that goes triple for Hollywood. We got pedophiles running around like squirrels. They're all over the place. Watch your kids and other people's kids too, because unfortunately we are living in a time of unprecedented human trafficking, first of all, and just normalization of this disgusting pedophilia issue. So, with that being said, hide your kids, hide your wives, they raping everybody. Watch out for things. That's what you need to do. So, watch out for your kids, watch out for other people's kids. Don't latch on to trash dick for no reason. I mean, you could just pick another trash dick that's not going to molest your kids. There's plenty. You've already set the bar pretty low. And if you want to win Dodgers tickets next week, enter the giveaway, because I think this is kind of fun. Like, whenever one of these Me Too people ended up giving away money, like, $44 million from Harvey Weinstein, $150,000 from Bryan Singer. Let's also give away, because why not? It'll be fun. And the leading up to the 100th episode of No Filter Friday, I want to do all of the fun stuff, because we're in like the fourth corner of it basically. So we're in the home stretch. We might as well do some more giveaways. So with that being said, go check out other shows on Public House Media that are not as dark or disgusting as No Filter Friday, like Choose to Rise or Confessions of a Military Spouse, or what else? C. Jane Cell. That's a new big one on Public House Media. All those other fun shows. So go check out those shows. Enter the giveaway for the Dodgers tickets, and if you can't, at least share it so other people can, if they're going to be in Southern California on July 6th for the Dodgers Padres game in LA at Dodger Stadium, and leave a comment and you will be entered, and I will see you all next week for some more debauchery, because we know there's no shortage of that. No shortage of debauchery in the hashtag #MeToo movement. None whatsoever. God only knows what's going to happen between now and next week. So, and Me Too, hashtag Me Too does not take holidays. 4th of July will come and go, and there will still be somebody in court. Bill Cosby will still be in jail. We will have plenty of things to talk about. So come on back next week, see who wins the Dodgers tickets, and we'll unpack whatever nonsense has happened between this Friday and next Friday, and it'll be super fun. So see you later, kids.